Welcome back to topic 4 in our general music kindergarten through 8th grade PLC. This topic is all about music on a budget and different manipulatives you can use in your classroom. This is segment 3, and in this segment, we're going to be focusing on pitch and melody manipulatives. So let's get started.
So for pitch and melody, some of my most fun and easiest manipulatives to whip out for these lessons are different things that you can have the kids use to show the melodic direction. So these are really fun, glow in the dark fingers. I think they're actually witch fingers. I think I got them like at the dollar store or the dollar spot at Target during Halloween. And we'll use these to teach melodic direction and vocalises. So I'll have them echo, and when they echo, they have to point. So if they said, whoop, they would take their glow and dark fingers and go, whoop, and we would practice, and then we would turn out the lights and have them glow in the dark. And then things like different, depending on the lesson you're doing, if you do snowflakes or animals or anything can be like a vocalise manipulative as long as you're giving it to the students for them to demonstrate what direction the melody's going. I talked in segment 1 about double dippers, and I definitely believe in double dippers and how you can multitask or have multi-purposes for different manipulatives. So I showed you the pipe cleaners for making note shapes and rhythm, but you can definitely use these for melodic direction as well and have the kids kind of manipulate the pipe cleaner to make some sort of shape and then sing it. Woo, and then they can flip it. Woo, 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 and kind of turn it and see what it sounds like in different shapes. And then things like this is really fun because they can take it with them and they think that they are going home with a pot of gold, that they get to take their melody shape with them. Similarly, I've used yarn, and this is even easier and even less expensive depending on what kind of yarn you get, but they can make squiggles, and we can make a really long squiggle as a whole class across the classroom floor, and then they can kind of squiggle their section of it. Ooh. And so this is another thing where I don't mind handing them a piece of yarn and they go home feeling like they just won the lottery with a piece of yarn. Another thing that I've done for simple melodic notation like that, and this is definitely for your kindergarten and first grade with that iconic notation of melody, is printed out these melodic direction cards. So again, this is bags with the corners cut off that I'll give to students or groups of students, and they can use these both in response to something they're listening to and for music creation. So just different melody shapes that they can respond to and create. And I add arrows for them to see which direction it's going so that they don't accidentally go upward, or so that I know that they know that it's going down and to the right. So that's something that you can pre-make for the students and give to them, and they can manipulate it to either, again, respond to something that you're performing or to create their own. Going back to what I said about multitaskers and using one manipulator for the same thing, when I was talking about rhythm, I talked about these individual poppets as being a rhythm manipulative, but the set I bought, I noticed, so happened to be red, orange, yellow, green, and purple, which I realized, I mean, this is a light green, but realized that if I compare them to boomwhacker colors, we've got C, D, E, G, and A, which is pentatonic. So I could do something where I give them a whole bunch of these different ones and I have them create a melody by combining them in a straight line. But then they have to hear which pitch, and then maybe they play this on boomwhackers. And I'll want them to end on do. So this would be like la la, mi, so, re, do. Not going to sing it for you, but they could play this on boomwhackers and then they can notate that maybe on a staff, or they can at least show with hands or with an iconic notation which pitches are high or which pitches are low. And they can manipulate this to create different melodies. I would probably specify that I always want them to end on do. So another double dipper that I have is these individual poppets that I showed you during the rhythm manipulative section. And I told you that I had a second set with more colors. And after I purchased them, I purchased them with the intention of using them for the rhythm unit. But then I noticed that they kind of match the boomwhacker colors. So this would be C, D, E, G, and A. And I realized that's pentatonic. So I could also use these for melodic manipulatives. So for example, I could have them create a melody by combining them like that. And then maybe I put do at the end. So here's do. Do, so, and re, re, mi, so, la, do. And so they'd have to either sing it or probably play it on boomwhackers and then sing it and then maybe notate it, either using traditional notation on that 5-line staff, or maybe this could be an intro to melody and you have them play it on boomwhackers and then maybe use some sort of iconic notation to just show which direction the pitches are going. So this is a good multi-use thing too, which makes it even more worth the investment, because again, these weren't free, they weren't super expensive, but they're a little bit more on the paid side of manipulatives. Another thing I've used is egg curtains, and I've seen these used different ways, but I've used them for reduced staff for so and me. And this is a great visual for the students to see that we want each note to be on a different spot, so that we don't have snowmen with two notes on top of each other, that when we read melodies, we read them from left to right. And it's a very clear visual of so, me, so, me. I have seen people use the 18 egg crates for so and la and me, or do, re, and me. And to me, do, re, mi would make more sense than so, la, mi, because I think you might run into trouble down the line with having the even spacing between so and la, and then also the even spacing between so and mi, when really there's a skip there. So I haven't done that with my kids. I do think it might make sense for do, re, mi. And you may even go so far as to paint the bottom row the same different color as those boomwhacker colors. So like this would be green and this would be yellow if you're on like a fixed dose system. I haven't gone that far because I've used these in a couple different ways, but this is a great idea for melodic notation for the reduced staff. You could tie it into some sort of song about eggs or about chickens, but really it works as a standalone activity as well. Another way I've done melodic notation in the past was to make these laminated papers with different sides with different amounts of lines. So 2 lines or 5 lines, or maybe 1 line, or you put it above and below the line, or 3 lines, and poker chips. And I just pass out poker chips to each student and have them notate a melody I say, or maybe I have them create a pentatonic melody or something using the poker chips and the 2-line staff. So it doesn't have to be super fancy. As long as it's something in the students' hands that they can themselves create, they love these types of activities. And then lastly, one thing I have done that's been pretty fun and successful is using dice for melodic composition and melodic notation. So I have some sort of legend on the board or on a worksheet that says, 1 is do and 2 is re, 3 is mi. 4 would be, you can either do fa, or I use it a lot for pentatonic. So 4 would be so, 5 would be la. And then in that case, 6 would be high do. And so they can roll the dice, and then I would have a worksheet that says that they rolled a 2. So a 2 equals re, and then they have to write re on the worksheet. So that way I can kind of vertically check to see if what they rolled matches what they wrote, and if they weren't just writing something random. So this is less of kind of a manipulative, but more of a fun way to get students composing that's still something that you can put in their hands. So I hope I've given you some good ideas in this topic. Again, I would love to hear what other manipulatives you use or have made in your classroom. I think this topic could honestly go on for days and days and days. And manipulatives to me are one of the most fun ways to get students engaged in showing what they know. So this has been topic 4, music on a budget.